episode number 3. We got Dane from Goodlids, the man behind Goodlids, obviously creating and selling hemp hats, tees that are sustainable for the planet, and also pretty comfy. You got one on my head as well. Thanks for coming in, mate. You guys been pretty busy.
Yeah. Nah, cheers for having me, boys. Yeah, it certainly has been pretty full on. Going into the cooler months now, so you'd expect it to sort of chill out a bit. But nah, I mean, we had a few stock issues over summer, and so we were out of stock for like 2 months, and then bought them back in April, and they've been flying ever since. So
just fully wiped clean, during the summer.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it was like pretty nuts. Like Christmas just went like super hard, and yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Like it's really hard to plan. It's a really hard thing to plan. Like how hard like the product's gonna pump. So that's been a big work on this year. Just like product planning, and sort of just trying to plan for success rather than like mitigate the risk associated with holding a whole bunch of stock. So essentially, I'm just like kind of giving a bit of a fuck it mentality. It's like getting in there and just, going hard. And
it's honestly just like popped out, hasn't it? Like all of our mates just suddenly started wearing these hats and we're like, fuck, what's going on here? And then it's kind of associated with Goodlids. So it's just all word of mouth, right? Everyone's just started putting them on and spreading the word. And
well, we haven't been around for that long. So we launched in November 2019. And yeah, I think I actually had a little look through like sales figures and all that sort of stuff over the weekend. And yeah, we kind of, I would say we picked up real big time about this time last year with our like winter drop in July. So there was like a real big boom around that. And I reckon that had something to do with like, a bunch of people would have like grabbed their hats over summer, headed back to uni, and then like we were probably caught on from there. Like, so that's our big market is that 18 to 24-year-old. So
yeah, well, we were actually saying that you're probably the top seller in terms of hats, especially among kind of university students at the moment. They seem to be popping up.
Yeah, I don't
kind
know.
of everywhere. Well, especially in our kind of friend group, around that 22 to 24-year-old mark. They seem to be the bee's knees. Everyone's in and around them.
There's no like comprehensive sales data for all hats in New Zealand, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, I do have people, coming up and saying, "Oh, look, your hats are everywhere," and Dunners and Vic. So no, it's pretty cool to see, and you love being in that market because those, the younger crowd are the ones that are making the change, and they're demanding more considered goods, and that's what Goodlids is all about, hemp hats and working towards being a really sustainable business. So to have that engagement and that uptake from the younger demographic is pretty cool. It's really exciting.
In terms of regions, is there any region in particular that stands out, head and shoulders above the rest in terms of sales? Like, is Dunedin somewhere that the hats are really successful, or is it more kind of Wellington, Auckland based? Is there something?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's sort of, I haven't looked at it like per capita, but like obviously Auckland's the biggest market, just because it's the biggest market in the country. I suppose there's we probably do get like a disproportionate amount of sales to Dunners, I would have thought. So yeah, it'd be like Auckland, Welly, Christchurch, Dunners.
And
so.
All online?
Yeah. So we've had some pop-ups over the last 18 months that we've been around. We've based all those pop-ups in Auckland to date, but we're looking at like hitting a few pop-ups in Dunners, Welly, and then maybe some other little towns like Palmy and New Plymouth, where we do have like a decent little customer base. I mean, Palmy is also like a student town. So yeah, it's like we don't want to like, we want to like hit our big markets hard, but we don't want to like forget about where there's potential growth.
Yeah, exactly.
To put a real like stamp down in those other little towns.
Yeah,
that sort of work for us.
Because you had that pop up store in Araki, right?
Yeah. So we launched with a pop up store in 2019, and then we had a pop up store for a couple of months last summer.
Seems to be quite busy. I went there once, and because it was inside a shop.
Yeah.
And that shop was doing quite well as well. And
Yeah. It was pretty hectic, eh? Yeah, it was pretty good. And it's just I love that, eh? Like I loved going down, like doing the fit out and being down, talking to the customers and all that sort of stuff. Like I'd love to have bricks and mortar, but at the moment online, it sort of is working really well, and I can service the whole country from our warehouse.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then, so how many working with you at the moment? Just you basically by yourself, or if you guys helping you?
Pretty much. So like it's Goodlids is very much like a collaborative business. So we've got like me, obviously, who most of my job is sort of just like facilitating. So I'm the founder, and I sort of like look after the direction in which the brand goes. And then I'm the one down on the ground packing your orders. So if your orders are wrong, it's my fault. But then we've got an awesome sort of community of designers and creatives that we sort of pull from and draw from. So like Sam Baker from Vacation Studio does a lot of our illustration, and then the boys from Happy Days down in Welly do a lot of our content, along with this guy Brody McDowell in Tauranga. So we're pretty like those. That's sort of like the main. Those are the main sort of contributors to Goodlids, and then I got like my younger brother Clay helps out quite a bit, but he's just busy down in Dunners at uni.
Moment.
So yeah. So he's probably the one like
he's probably the man,
man
inside.
Yeah, spreading the word down there.
Like it's so you guys have to have such pretty like unique designs.
Yeah.
So like, is it all your inspiration, or you tell the designers what you kind of want, or they come up with their own stuff and you're like, this is it?
A bit of both. Sam's like super talented, and like the reason that I went to him was, this is like before Pals, like so he's the dude that designed the Pals cans.
Oh yeah.
Which are obviously like pretty quirky, real cool designs in themselves. But I approached him in like March 2019. Pals launched in like September 2019. And I approached him, and I was like, looking at his Instagram and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, this has got to, like, this is the only guy that can like bring this to life, So it's I give a little bit of guidance, and I do some stuff myself, but he's a bit of a genius, so I just let him run with it a lot of the time.
Sometimes you just got to put it into someone's hands,
take
it on.
Yeah, man. And just like, I don't know, like I live by that sort of like mentality. Like I always tried to be like, I try to be real good to everyone like around me in business. Like, I think initially like the Happy Days boys were like keen to like shoot some stuff for free because they're students, but I was like, no, I'm not paying you. You guys are like, they're seriously good.
Yeah, right.
And like, I used to work in marketing as well, and I know how much like agencies and stuff like that would charge for similar sort of services, and I'm like, boys, like I can't pay you much, but I've definitely got to give you something for this. So it's ridiculous. So it's really cool to be able to like help out those guys and hopefully help build their like portfolio.
Exactly right. Well, they got to start somewhere, and you're kind of giving them a chance, at least as long as your business grows as well. They're getting the
It's me.
Taste of it.
I want to see them like like you want to see those dudes like getting bigger and bigger. Like one day, I'd be gutted like if they outgrow me, but you almost want to like grow together. So it's like, you guys are demanding more now, and like because you helped build our business, and we're a bigger sort of stronger business, we can pay you that now. But maybe we might not grow as fast as them, and they'll overtake us once they leave university and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, it's all about helping each other when you're from grassroots.
When you're the little guy, little guy's gotta.
But I mean, let's go back. Where did you grow up? Where's home? Where was school?
Yeah. Look, I moved over. Well, I mean, I try to keep this a bit of a secret, but I moved over from Aussie when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old. Mum's Kiwi, dad's an Aussie. Moved over, grew up Auckland ever since. So bit of a Jaffa.
This guy keeps it a secret as well.
I'm just the opposite, mate. Aussie dad, Kiwi mum.
Oh really? Yeah. So and then I went to grammar, and I played a bit of cricket when I was younger, and that sort of was a bit of a dream of mine, like to go all the way in cricket. Didn't really work out that way, and I just sort of, I don't know. Do you want to dig a bit deeper into anything? I suppose, then cricket sort of didn't really work out, and then like literally probably after, I don't know, like 6 months of sort of mentally hanging out the boots, I just kicked on with Goodlids. That's sort of how it all worked out.
So it was because cricket didn't work out, that's the kind of inspired to start the Goodlids.
Oh, like it left a bit of a void. Like it's one thing like building a career, but I studied part time and while trying to pursue cricket, and finished off uni and all that sort of stuff. But I actually my first job out of uni was for a startup, which I also think was really formative. So I worked for Vista Drinks, which is like a sparkling water brand.
Oh, yeah.
And they're a bunch of shore boys, and they're like real cool dudes, real switched on.
Is it Scott Day?
Yeah, Scotty Day, yeah. Noddy and Adam Sorensen and Russell Hopper. Shout out to the boys, shout out to the Vista boys. I think they were pretty inspirational in the way that they went about their work, and sort of I was like, it sort of helped me go, these guys are doing something that I'm super keen to do. Built a bit of a passion around small business, and then I was like, I'm real keen to sort of do something similar myself, and I suppose Goodlids was something that I don't know. I was thinking about like what's something that I like use every day, and like don't like, I don't know, like hats is just something that I just always wore, and I was like, how can we make hats better?
Everyone needs them.
Yeah, needs them. Yeah, exactly, especially in New Zealand.
Exactly.
The old ozone layer is pretty...
Not great, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty thin, pretty unforgiving on the old skin. I was looking at a way to make hats better, and sort of the big moment was learning more about hemp, and that was pretty inspiring to me, and I thought, here we go, actually this is something that I can see that I want to do, and I want to kind of help mobilize the hemp movement to sort of bring the crop back to where it should be.
Hemp's such a big talking point, like recent times as well. So many people don't know the difference between hemp and actually marijuana, right? And everyone's like, well, same thing. What is it? So, how do you explain it to people, I guess, for them to actually understand that it's actually not the same,
sure.
And we can use it to actually save the planet?
Look, I'll be honest, it's actually been pretty easy. People, or most of the people that I deal with are like pretty switched on. So I haven't had too many. Like, you get the odd like person going, oh, they'll comment on your hat, but can I smoke it and all that sort of gang. And it's like the answer is yes, you can smoke it. I don't know how good for you it would be. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, the hats are hemp, they're all natural, but it's not going to get you high. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Look, I think I've just had really good timing, because it's like 5 years earlier, and it might have been almost too much of like an unusual thing or whatever. But the whole hemp thing was pretty topical, and I think people had done a bit of educating themselves, and knew that okay, hemp is actually something that's good, and there's been a whole bunch of food products that have come through the market in recent years, so I think people were kind of on board with it. They were like, at the very least, I'm like, oh, the hats are made of, hemp, and people go, oh yeah, that's sustainable, right? And I'm like, yep, like for a number of reasons. The crop itself sequesters up to 4 times the amount.
That's crazy. That
tree wood.
That,
yeah. So it's really good at sort of helping the soil out in which it's planted, sort of because it takes that carbon out and it just pumps it back into the soil, and just helps really rejuvenate that. And then it's a weed, so it grows in all sorts of conditions.
Quite fast as well.
Yeah, it grows fast, so the yield's a lot quicker, and then the whole water thing as well. Like, it doesn't necessarily require like a great deal of water to thrive.
Pretty harsh conditions, eh?
Yeah. I mean, you want to grow hemp. From my understanding, I'm not a farmer. I'm not a hemp farmer. I'm sort of just like an end user at the end of the day. But my understanding is that you want to grow it in areas where there's little, very little wind, because they grow quite tall and they're quite thin.
Yeah,
so
right.
you can you can grow them high. The higher you can grow them, like the greater your yield. That's sort of like that's the sweet spot that you're looking for. So, like North Canterbury is like the hemp hotspot for
hemp capital of New Zealand.
Yeah, for farmers, and the farmers down there have had it pretty tough with like a lot of drought and some harsh conditions. So, being able to diversify, their offering in their farms by growing a little bit of hemp and selling it to local food producers can help alleviate the pressure of some pretty harsh natural conditions. So it's pretty cool in that respect. So yeah, look, there's a lot going for it as a crop, and then as a textile. So basically the hats are made from 90% hemp, and you get the fiber from like the stalk of the hemp.
Oh, really?
Plant. So the food's from the hemp heart, which is kind of like in the leaf, bud sort of thing, and then the fiber comes from the stalk, and then that's processed, woven into fiber, and then it's super durable.
Wow, I can tell wearing one.
Yeah.
It goes good. Like it withstands quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's natural. So it's like breathable and all that sort of stuff. Helps regulate, temperature and all that sort of stuff that a natural fiber does. So it's real good in that respect. It performs real well as a textile. So it's pretty sick. Like hats are really cool. Hemp's a great textile for hats, because obviously your head needs to breathe, and you're sealing your lid in. You need to have that, I suppose, natural fibre to let it breathe. But it's also really good. Like, I'm wearing a hemp t-shirt right now. We've got a few hemp tees, and I love them. They're real soft.
So whereabouts do you source like most of your materials from? Do you source them in NZ or externally overseas?
No, so they're all sourced in China, which is it is what it is. I mean, I always said to myself earlier on, I was like, look, it's sequestering carbon from the same atmosphere. Like, it's a global issue. So there's a few issues, like regulatory issues with like processing fibre in New Zealand, and we probably don't have the machinery and the labour costs associated with the processing of fibre to do it in New Zealand on like a big scale just yet. But China's the hemp capital of the world. Like, they never stop making it. They use it for rope.
Use it for like everything, eh? There's so many different uses.
A whole bunch, like it was. I think it was in the 20s or the 30s that Henry Ford made a car out of hemp. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. So it's like it was a plastic, so it was like a bioplastic.
Yeah.
And it was all derived from hemp, and it was like super strong and all that sort of stuff. But then, war on drugs happened, and hemp became a bit of a dirty word. So we did lose a little bit of the, I suppose, the scope for potential that hemp has, but it's on its way back now in a big way, and it's super topical with the whole with all the issues around climate change and whatnot. So it'd be really cool to bring it back, and hemp hats and hemp clothing is a very, very small part of that. But if we can, I think it's very visible. So it's like if you can help sort of mobilize that in terms of a real visible product and make it appealing and all good, then well on your way to helping to mobilise that, and it'd be great for the world if that did happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different materials being created these days because of the whole climate change factor, and there's hemp, and then there's the recycled polyester and all the recycled cottons and stuff. But
for sure.
you hear definitely bad things about those because by the time you have to recycle and remake them, the labour and the carbon footprints is probably about the same. So I definitely hear good things about hemp, but like sometimes you get people saying that hemp's a little bit coarse. Like it's not the nicest material that you want to wear in your skin. So what, you kind of have to start mixing.
Yeah, so you have to blend it with cotton, preferably organic cotton.
Cause your t-shirts and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So our tees are 55% hemp, 45% organic cotton.
Yeah, right.
Hats are 90-10, so a little bit softer, which is quite good. Yeah, we tried out the 100% hemp hats, and they're all good. But yeah, we preferred the slightly softer blend. So yeah, back in the day, probably maybe the slightly older generation might have tried a hemp tee or whatever, and it would have been literally wearing I don't even know, it would have been super itchy, pretty gnarly sort of thing to wear.
Definitely coarse.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
But that's good that the market's coming back. I guess with so much push to be sustainable.
Is there a financial cost that comes with that versus kind of, I don't want to say non-sustainable, but less sustainable clothing?
Yeah, sure. My understanding is that there is. I know that I pay a lot more for a t-shirt or a hat than maybe another company does. I mean, that's for a number of reasons. If I'm buying from China, we have to ship to New Zealand, so there's shipping costs associated with that. I'm a smaller business and I prefer to hold less stock, and we sell only online instead of wholesale, so we order less stuff, which drives the price up. And then I mean, there's obviously the fact that hemp it isn't made in abundance, so it's not readily available. It's a whole economy of scale sort of thing. It's there's plenty of cotton tees going around, but there's not that many hemp tees. So the demand's starting to grow massively. The supply hasn't quite caught up yet, so it's driving the price up for sure. But it is what it is, man. I'm happy to take a hit a little bit and not make as much money and still price something that I think is competitive, just to get a foot in the door and pump it out and take it to the world, because I think that at the end of the day, I think it needs to happen. So I'm gonna hang in there, with the teas, for example, they're super expensive to make, and I couldn't run a different business model. I couldn't run a wholesale business model on the t-shirts. There's not enough margin there. I'm selling them pretty competitively at the moment. So, but yeah, it has to kind of, in my opinion, I know that my market's 18-24. They haven't got heaps of disposable income. But I want to give them the opportunity to access
try it out at least.
If they swear by it, then they're potentially customer of Goodlids, and if not Goodlids, then they're a customer of another hemp business. For a long period of time, which is what we're after,
So it's essentially you're taking a hit to kind of build your brand awareness. Is that what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying?
and just to try and do the right thing. It's I could, and it's a whole bunch of different things. So it's I know that if I price a t-shirt $100, that people aren't going to spend. They're less likely to spend that money on that t-shirt. So it's sort of trying to price it so that it's I do make a bit of money. I'm a business, but it's not it's all about getting it out there.
Still affordable, for people. And it's only going to snowball as well because they're going to buy it. They're going to spread the word, and as long as the market keeps growing, and I'm sure it will be because of the climate change and all that. It's only going to go good for you. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. You got to get the word out there, small business. Yeah, it's pretty. I suppose it's pretty common in the industry to kind of do that. But I don't know if you guys have read through our sustainability program, but we, we're not averse to changing prices or anything like that. Like scared of changing our prices. If we're at the end of the day, it's if we need to move, for instance, at the moment, it's vintage is having a real big comeback and people are looking to reduce their footprint by shopping for from the existing sort of pile of clothes. And then there's like the whole circular movement as well, and there might be something else that comes back that comes out that's better, and it's like, well, we're not just going to stay at the current standard of like what sustainability is. Like, we've got to be prepared to move, and if that means that we have to spend more to be at that like cutting edge of sustainability, then I'm more than happy to do that. And I think that people will be on board with that 100%. Like, knowing my customers and spending a lot of time with my customers, it's like, yeah, I think most of the people that wear Goodlids are like pretty good people, and they're willing to do the right thing by the planet. And if that means it's spending an extra $10 on a hat,
Yeah, I suppose
so be it.
at the end of the day, like, it shouldn't be too much more for people to spend that extra 10. I know that's a massive thing at the moment. Like, you kind of look at something, I could go for this, but it is now like a conscious thought that a lot of people have is like, well, that probably isn't helping the planet as much as this would. So you start to lean in towards those options a little bit more.
Yeah.
So you guys are making obviously a lot of hats,
Yeah.
tees. Is there anything else that you guys make at the moment, or is there anything else that you guys want to get into making?
We also do our enamel mugs that we only give away on like social media.
Yeah, see that.
Like, we're pretty big on like camping and heading outdoors and having a bit of fun, and that's like a big part of the Goodlids brand.
Because you guys have some product in the shop out west.
Yeah, West Supply.
West Supply, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, I call it the number one adventure store in New Zealand. It probably is. Like, if you haven't been out there, to those of you who are listening, definitely head out west, make the trip. If you're in Auckland, if you live in Auckland, or if you're up visiting, make the trip out west to West Supply in Waimaku. It's a ridiculously cool store. It's a sick vibe. You don't have to pick up a Goodlid or a Feldon, but you can grab a cup of coffee, and the people
got some cool trucks.
Yeah, the people there are seriously cool people, good people, and it's a really cool environment to be in and to be a part of. So I'm so stoked that Goodlids is in that store. Right? It's like we're not in many stores, but had to be in that one.
How's the relationship with kind of how did you kind of build the relationship with the store?
Yeah, so I went and picked up a Feldon last year. And I met Joel and Beth, and they were super cool, and they were like, we love, you're the Goodlids guy. We love Goodlids, and we got this project that we're running, and so while my tent was getting fitted onto my car, I took a ride out to West Supply from the Feldon Shelter Workshop. And while we were there, like, it was getting fitted out and it looked amazing. Everything they were doing, like the attention to detail, was second to none. Like, they'd installed like exposed beams on the ceiling. Like, it just looked like a really, like, it looked like a really cool like combination of like a loft like style like apartment / like just your classic like New Zealand like home for like out in Piha way. It's a really, really cool fit out that they done out there. And I was like, wow, like, this is your new project, rah. And they were like, how do you feel about being part of it? And I was like, you serious? Like, I'd been in business for like, I don't know, six months at that point. And you get these guys that you like look up to that are so, they're so big in their market, and it's like a dream come true, to be approached by them for that project.
And they're drawing off some pretty young other businesses as well. Like Dan Marsden's got his surf shop in there.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that.
Yeah, it's a really cool, like they've nailed it there. I think that's the future of retail as well. You just got to be super dynamic, and they've got, they cover so many bases in there with their food and beverage offering, the full truck workshop, fitting out experience, and then they've got by Marsden surfboards, which is obviously it all makes so much sense, because it's where people head to go out for a surf out west.
Camping adventure spot,
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously they stock only the best outdoor goods, like Coleman and Front Runner and stuff like that out there, and so it's like an international set of brands, and they've just curated it and brought it into that store, and you just know that you're that you're getting the best of the best. Woods Equip as well. Shout out to Finn Woods.
How long have those guys been there for? Like, how long's the store been there for?
It opened in, I'm going to say August last year. I think it might have been thwarted by COVID a little bit because we had that level 3 lockdown around then. But yeah, it's been going strong since August, and yeah, it's like I say, if you haven't been, go and check it out. It's
definitely a good spot.
Yeah.
Feldon Shelter.
Yeah, Feldon Shelter.
You've been in many missions?
Oh, not as many as I'd like. Hey, like the thing about being I'm heading away down south to do Queen Charlotte track this weekend, which is so sick. I'm so excited. But the thing about being in a small business is that you get far less time to go on holiday. This is my first holiday since I've started Goodlids.
Oh, really?
Well, other than when we went out, we sold out of stock over summer, and I was like, man, I'm like,
can't really do much.
Part of me was like, oh no, I haven't ordered enough, but the other part of me was like, man, I can head away and go to the beach and just shut the website down and just check out. So, but while I've been in stock, like I just haven't hid away. Like obviously a combination of like COVID but it's just one of those things. Like it's a family business. Like mum's gonna pack the orders while I'm away. So.
Perfect. Delegation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we can talk about COVID a little bit, but would have been a pretty tough time with you outsourcing hemp from China and all that. Did it affect any of your movements at all, or?
I got really lucky.
Really?
So I managed to so what happened was I sold out. Like we launched in November 2019, and I like pretty much sold out of all my hats by December.
Right.
And so I'd like already placed like my next order, and it got out the door and it got to us, a big order of like 2,000 hats, for the middle to the end of January.
Perfect.
And that was obviously pre-COVID really kicking off over here. So I had plenty of stock.
There is a god, eh?
Yeah. I had plenty of stock, and then we obviously went into lockdown. But I left the online store open, and like orders sort of trickled in. But then as soon as we hit level 3, I just went nuts again. It was a combination of, I guess, a whole bunch of people just like working from home, not being able to spend their money, and then just being on the computer, like online shopping and all that sort of stuff. It was like the only thing you could do. So it was like level 3, and like we did a whole thing about like level 3, like back to the outdoors, like how good sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like a whole bunch of people bought heaps of hats around then. So it was really sick. Like we were real lucky. And I was working full time at the time for Vista. So it worked out pretty well.
Well, COVID seemed to be like, obviously it's a bad thing, but Feldon Shelter and those like kind of rooftop tent businesses seem to thrive from it purely because people couldn't go overseas. And people were like,
camping.
That's me. I'm going to buy myself a tent.
Yeah, I know. Like I was having a yarn with my mate this morning as well. I was like, the big winners from COVID were like Feldon and all those adventure gears, but they're also anybody who was trying to sell a Land Cruiser ever since, because like everybody's trying to, like the Land Cruiser second-hand market is like going through the roof.
Crazy.
Like my mate bought a I think he bought a Nissan Safari or something like that recently. He bought it for $8,000, drove it up to Auckland and sold it for like 12 as soon as he got here.
Just because,
because it's just like, and when he picked it up, he didn't have the intention to sell it, but he sort of rethought a decision, and didn't want to have a big car to sort of lug around the city. But yeah, we were laughing about it, going, oh man, it's like same thing. It's like supply and demand. Those trucks are hot property at the moment, just because people got that cash that would have otherwise been spending overseas, and now they're spending it on kitting out their trucks so they can go tow their boat and go camping.
Yeah. Some people got a lot more time to explore and do the stuff they wanted to do.
Probably like it's kind of almost post-COVID probably been all right for the economy that people can't go away and shoot off overseas. But it's a double-edged sword. There's negatives and positives to both of it.
I haven't given it too much thought actually in that respect. Like if how that's worked out for us. I think. Yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like in New Zealand, it's kind of like, I'm no like economist or anything like that, so I don't really know what's going on, and I don't have any theories around that. But yeah, everything seems pretty good, and like, I think as long as people are willing to spend their money here, then that's a good thing for a small business like Goodlids.
Yeah, shit, yeah. You were saying you pre-COVID ordered around 2,000 hats. Is that the same kind of quantity you're ordering now, or you're ordering a bit more out of this year?
Yeah, a bit more now. Like we're starting to offer international shipping, and so overseas is taking off a little bit now, which is sick. It's pretty cool to have a bit of uptake from international customers. Like I got my first order from the States in January, and like I was like messaging the dude that was buying the hats from me, and I was like walking through the process of like making an online order, because it was like my first international order, so I was like a bit nervous. I was like, oh, bro, check this and do this, at the checkout, and let me know what happens, like take screenshots so I can see what the process looks like. And he was stoked, and I was like, man, like how cool is that you like start this thing up and there's some dude, and like I think it was from like Arkansas.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, like University of Arkansas, and him and his mates, they all like, I was like, yeah, if you purchase over $150 of goods, you get free shipping. So he was like, oh man, like I'll go get my mates to like chip in, see if they want any hats. So yeah, they like a bunch of them like chipped in and like got the free shipping and all that sort of stuff. So there's a bunch of dudes walking around with Goodlids and in Arkansas and in the south of the US. So yeah, it's funny. Like I would have like thought that like my first sale like, to the US would be like in like California.
Yeah, like all surfy towns across there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're probably pretty saturated with stuff like Goodlids, but no, it's
but that's
off.
definitely somewhere you want to target, though, right? The States, all those surfy towns.
Yeah,
in California, up and down the coast.
Yeah, for sure. The States and Aussie are probably the number two, numbers 2 and 3 in terms of the markets. Canada's pretty sick as well. We've had a few orders from the UK. It's pretty cool. But yeah, Aussie's starting to pump a little bit harder. The cool thing about Aussie is that it's sort of like when you head up to Queensland and like you go to Gold Coast, or like heading up to Byron Bay, like it's far less, I guess, seasonal. Like it's pretty hot. It's like hot weather all year, Yeah. Whereas in New Zealand, it's like at the moment it's like windy and a bit miserable in Auckland today.
Hats blowing off.
Hats blowing off your head. Yeah. So it can be a bit of a seasonal product. But we were pretty keen to move into markets where it's year round. People need a hat every day. Aussie is pretty perfect for that, and certainly some parts of the US are as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that US market would be a good one to crack, just to get a few people in there.
Yeah, what is it? 300 million people. Yeah, bloody good market to crack. Yeah, look, it would be. I think the thing that you have to be realistic about as a New Zealand business trying to crack that market is that like there's probably a bunch of people in the States that haven't heard of New Zealand, let alone Goodlids. Yeah. So yeah, it's always pretty hard being a small fish in a big pond. But yeah, I mean it'd be seriously cool to crack that market. I think the consumer trends would be a bit different in the US as opposed to Australia. Like Australia would make a bit more sense because I think New Zealanders and Australians, as much as we probably hate to admit it,
pretty similar
people. So so I think it makes a bit of sense to do that.
But we asked Sam, who's the Seltzers guy. He's probably in the same boat. You're probably a little bit more ahead of him business wise, but like he does all the marketing in himself.
Yep.
How do you find juggling that? Doing all the marketing, running the business.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite parts. It's like how do you want your brand to come across? And like I say, I think imagery is a real big part of it. And then from there, it's just like understanding who your market is, and then being able to market to them effectively. So it's like we're something ridiculous, like 90% of our traffic comes through Instagram. Work hard on that on that channel, on that social channel, and try and build that up and so that's like the plan. Like like one of the things that we do is that pretty much all of the people that follow Goodlids actually see our posts, because the Instagram algorithm ranks our posts so highly simply because I do these mug giveaways every time I post on the weekdays. So literally like every Goodlids post gets like 100 comments. Yeah. So the Instagram algorithm goes, mean.
A lot of
Like,
stories and shares as well.
yeah. You get some shares, you get some stories and that sort of stuff. So you're giving people a reason to follow your page, because it's like, not everyone. People buy a hat, sure. You're like, yeah, cool, I want a hat, and like we like it, but it's like, I don't want to see they don't necessarily want to see your messages like every day.
Yeah.
You kind of want to keep that.
There's like an optimal amount of posts, isn't there, each week? Something like you shouldn't post more than like every day or something like that. Keep engagement at like an all-time high.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I kind of do it in a lean way. Like I'm like, what do I need to say? Yeah, if nothing needs to be said, then I won't say it. Then I won't post anything. But it's like, you kind of want to let people know that there's some products in store. You want to let them know about new releases, about collaborations that you're doing, and all that sort of stuff. Any promotions that you might be doing, and all that sort of stuff. So most of the posts that we do around that, it's about like, it's like the idea is you just kind of, Instagram promotes, you find that like when your best mate posts, their post is probably going to be at like the top of your algorithm. Yeah. So it's like, how do we make Goodlids like your mate on Instagram,
exactly.
so that the algorithm rates it. But it's also like, that's also our sort of philosophy around how we treat our customers. It's like we're all in this together, like
mates.
Yeah, you're all mates.
Have you ever looked down kind of like the influencer marketing kind of road, I guess, for Goodlids, or is that not something that you kind of like? I know some businesses are real heavy into it, and that's how they get their kind of brand out there, and that's how they build it.
Especially with the sustainable side, right? These days, with big businesses getting the sustainable athletes and like all that kind of jazz, pushing that through. But
I would much rather send so this is the thing that I have about it, and I'm not like, and I think there's definitely a place for influencers, and it's it is what it is. It's an effective marketing tool. But I'd much rather send like a free hat to somebody who's like a customer, with like 1,000 followers, and they're like posting about the hats that they've bought all the time, and you can see that they're actually like a brand ambassador despite not having all the followers. Like I'm like, look, I think when we turned one, we took our top 10 customers and then like a whole bunch of people that post really regularly about Goodlids on Instagram, and we were like, we're gonna send you some stuff. Thank you so much for supporting us. And I'd much rather do that than like give a hat to like an influencer. Like don't get me wrong, we've had like people like Art Green was somebody who I like reached out to real early in our journey just because I really liked the guy. Like I loved, like he comes across as like a super nice, like genuine dude on like social media. And I was like, hey man, like, would you mind like if I sent you a hat? And he was like, yeah, he was all good with it. And he's like super lovely guy. And I've met him a few times, and he's really cool, and he wears his hat like all the time. And I'm like, yo, that's the type of dude that I definitely want to work with. And like same thing. It's like, and so I want to support him, and like, if we ever do like an influencer campaign, it's like I'll go straight to him and pay him, because that's part of his job, and that's what he does. He's got good content. Like he helps people out. He stays fit and helps people achieve those sorts of things. It's like, I'm on board with that, and I'll help you out because, I'll pay you because you're a brand ambassador and you like the product and you wear it heaps. So it's like, that's how I'd run it. It's hard. Like I wouldn't do like a thing where I send a whole bunch of hats out to 50 people that might chuck it up on their Instagram story and never wear it again. So I think you just gotta be real selective. Like I say, I'd much rather send, it's like quality over quantity, I guess. Like send it to people that are like super, 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 super keen. Yeah. To be on board.
100%. You definitely want someone wearing it all the time.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like I don't know, like New Zealand, for my product, it's like how many influencers are there out there that are speaking directly to like 18 to 24-year-olds that are passionate about sustainability?
Exactly,
I don't really know. I haven't found too many that speak directly to my market.
Yeah, probably not. It's quite it is, I guess, quite a niche market.
Yeah.
Especially for
Like maybe like Chloe Swarbrick would be like someone, but she's like a politician, so I don't know. She like accepts free stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's definitely not like in our marketing mix of activities for sure. It's like not something that I think too much about. But yeah, like it all comes back to like just trying to existing customers are like your best brand ambassadors. You know, the dude that's like, you know, the university student that's got like 2 hats that paid, you know, full price for those hats and like wears them religiously around the campus and, you know, preaches hemp products. So it's like, that's your most powerful influencer.
Yeah.
You're like genuine customer. Yeah.
Fully agree with you there, right? Now listening to it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you look at a lot of other kind of businesses that probably aren't so focused on sustainability, and they're just like, fuck it, I just want, you know, max following, max this, max that, but they don't, you know, they probably don't have like an underlying theme like you do.
Yeah, man, it's hard. It's hard, but like, what did I hear? It's actually, so I take this analogy for the way that I approach business. So it's like, and it's actually from Amazon, and it's like Jeff Bezos, who isn't necessarily somebody that I really aspire to, but it's like, it's all about, Amazon was like and possibly still is like a loss making company, and it's like, it's all about like sticking to your principles. You know, their principles like customer service, and they stuck to that and like would constantly grow their like customer service you know, offering to forfeit profit just because they wanted to be the best. So the analogy was like, you want to be the submarine with the biggest tanks.
Yeah.
So at the, you know, where you surface when everyone else is sort of come and gone, and so in that respect, we want to stick to our guns on sustainability. So it's like, we want to actually, we don't go on sale. Like, we don't red mark any of our stuff, and we're not going to run a wholesale business model because we don't want to, retailers to discount our product. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we don't do. Like you say, like, we don't run like massive influencer campaigns and then like to try and like pump heaps of product out, you know. So it's like we've got like a set of values that we stick to, with regards to sustainability that like can make it real tough sometimes, because like you're down to your last few sizes in a t-shirt and you're like, oh man, like I want to, if I could just get rid of, if I can get rid of those, but like, it's at the end of the day, it's like, look, the price is the price, and like somebody is gonna pay that, and they're gonna enjoy that t-shirt. So just like hold off, don't like incite that consumerism for short-term gain, even though it can be tempting. You gotta stick to your guns, and if you're authentic, then eventually, cream of the crop will rise to the top sort of mentality.
Cream rises, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward into obviously the back end of this year and the years to come, what are some of like the big next steps for Goodlids?
Yeah, I think we've touched on like the main two, probably like refining our sustainability, protocols and developing. We've launched a couple of weeks ago. We launched our Goodlids sustainability program, which is basically a full list of things that we do well and things that we don't do well, and that that aren't quite good yet. Like, they're not where we want them to be. Like, you look at it, I looked at it and I was like, okay, where do I actually, like, what looks perfect to me? And it was like, this system where, in essence, you're sort of like, because at the end of the day, like, Goodlids is a business that takes from the earth, and it takes from the earth, and we want to get to a place where it's like we want to minimize like what we take, how we take from the earth, and then we want to be able to be in a position to actually circle what we produce back into the earth. So we've got a bit of like a 5-year plan around that to be like a fully circular business, and we're just going to chip it away at it over the next few years, as best we can, working with our supply partners, and our customers, of course, to make it happen. So the first thing that we've got is packaging. So at the moment we send all our orders in like bioplastic satchels.
Yeah.
So they're like home and commercially compostable. But what we find is that a lot of the customers are, don't actually have access to those to the home compost or the commercial compost bins, and they're just chucking them in their general waste, and they're not breaking down properly and all that sort of stuff. So everybody's got a recycling bin, so we're going to move to cardboard boxes. So we're completely plastic free in our packaging, and we're aiming to have this done by July. So yeah, the cardboard boxes are on their way. So
nice.
Yeah. So it's all those sorts of steps, and then again just growing the business internationally to other markets, because New Zealand's a pretty small market, eh? So yeah, those are the big two. Those are the big two, and then we've obviously got a small clothing offering, and yeah, we're keen to keep on building that out because we're real big believers in like hemp teas. I'm wearing literally everything I'm wearing apart from this puffer vest is hemp pants on, hemp tee, hemp hat. So
there you go,
fully sustainable.
Yeah. Well,
let's hope more
on the way.
More people.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, no, it's all pretty exciting, and
spreading the word as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, they're good, man. It's super interesting. Like, we've definitely learnt heaps, and I'm sure everyone that's going to listen is going to learn a lot as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
Very insightful.
Hopefully, yeah. That's the idea.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Nah, thanks so much for having me,
appreciate
guys.
it.
Yeah. Cheers.
You beauty.